All right, let's dive into a really profound shift in how we understand divine law. We're going to talk about the journey from a law that was carved on stone, something external, to a law that's actually alive inside the human heart. So let's just start with this one question, because it really gets to the core of everything. What if the guide for how to live wasn't something you had to look at, but something you could actually live from? Now, to really appreciate this new way, we've got to go back and understand the old one, the law that was first given on those stone tablets. A good way to think of it is like a perfect mirror. And we have to be super clear here. This law was not flawed. It was holy. It was a perfect, crystal clear reflection of God's own righteousness. It showed you exactly what a life that pleases God looked like. But, and this is the huge but, here's the limitation. As perfect as that mirror was, it was still on the outside looking in. It could tell you what was wrong. It could diagnose the problem perfectly, but it had absolutely zero power to change your nature or to fix that problem from the inside out. So let's just break that down real quick. The old way was written on stone. It was cold, hard, and totally external. It was a perfect standard, for sure. But its main job was just to point at the problem. It could never, ever change the heart. And it's that limitation, right there, that created the need for something radically new. But that's not where the story ends. Not even close. See, ancient prophecy started talking about a major turning point, a whole new promise from God, a new covenant that was going to work in a completely different way. And here it is from the prophet Jeremiah. Just notice the incredible shift in location here. The law is literally moving from stone tablets to the muscle and fiber of our hearts. We're going from an external object to an internal reality. So you might be asking, okay, how does this inner law actually work? Well, the prophet Ezekiel gives us the next piece of the puzzle. He reveals the how, the mechanism. God would put his own spirit inside a person, and that spirit becomes the engine, the power that causes you to walk in his ways. And all of this leads us to this amazing concept the scriptures call the law of Christ. But listen, this isn't just a new set of rules. It's something, or maybe I should say someone, entirely different. So get this. The law of Christ isn't another list of do's and don'ts. It's not a code. It is the actual person and character of Jesus, his love, his humility, his obedience, becoming a real, living part of who you are, written deep inside you. And the Apostle Paul just puts it so perfectly. He says the writing material itself has changed. It's gone from stone to flesh. This new covenant isn't written on tablets of stone anymore, but on the tablets of human hearts. Okay, let's put these two big ideas right next to each other so we can really see the contrast in what's been called the Great Exchange. So, on one side, you have the law of Moses. It was on stone. It worked by external pressure, right? A holy command you had to try and meet. But then, on the other side, you have the law of Christ. It's on our hearts, and it works through an internal passion, a desire that comes from within. It's not just a holy command, it's a holy and alive person living inside you. So how does this engraving process actually happen? Well, it's the work of the Holy Spirit. You can think of the Spirit as the new finger of God. The Spirit is the one engraving Christ's words inside you, reminding you of everything Jesus taught, and then ultimately becoming the very life within you. Which brings us to the big, so what question. What is all of this for? What is the ultimate goal of this whole process? Well, first, let's be really clear about what the goal is not. Under this new covenant, the point of the Christian life is not about gritting your teeth and just trying harder to obey some external list of rules on ancient stone tablets. No, instead, the goal is to become a living tablet. The goal is to be a person whose very life is like a letter from Christ, just filled with his character, so that everyone around you can read it. It's a shift from just obeying an object to actually becoming a living message. And so that brings us full circle, right back to where we started with a question. But this time, it's a little more personal. If this whole process is real, if this new covenant is active, then it really makes you stop and think, what is being written on your heart?